Welcome in to the fall sports season premiere this week in Indian Hill Braves athletics here on IndianHillBraves.org and ESP Media powered by Sidearm Sports. My name is Jason Griefer. We're happy to be back once again with Indian Hill Athletic Director Brian Phelps. Brian, good to have you back here and good to be talking about sports once again here. Before we jump into all the individual sports we have going on in the fall season, and pretty much everybody's underway at this point here, I want to have you, before start the podcast, updating the fan base, students, parents, families, fans in general, where we stand as far as COVID policies go at Indian Hill High School for both outdoor and our indoor events.
Sure. Outdoor events are as normal, so there's no masking. We still encourage people to be healthy and wash their hands and stay socially distanced when possible, but there's no enforcement on any policies outside. We're asking all individuals to wear a mask while they're indoors. Our student athletes and students are wearing masks in class. Once our teams take their bench, masks can come off, but we're asking the fans to keep masks on in the stands.
All right, so keep that in mind.
Indoor events only again. Yeah.
Okay. There you go. So fans, keep that in mind going forward here as you make plans to attend some athletic events. If you've not had the chance to do that as of yet, everything is getting going here. Let's jump right into it. Let's start talking about cross country first. A big meet up in Columbus over the weekend. A lot of schools up there, kind of a season preview event, if you will, and seeing some results come in. Very, very strong results, both individually and team wise for your runners out there. In approaching the season, how have your runners looked in training, and also how have the coaches kind of managed things with your runners, given that we've had just a dome of heat and humidity really sitting over the top of the area really since the beginning of August?
Yeah, Sue Savage does such a good job getting them prepared. We went away to preseason camp and had some fun doing that, and she's gone extra early in the morning to kind of beat the heat. And we're not even full strength yet. And as you mentioned, the preseason meet up in Columbus, we had good results. Some kids did some really, really good things. Our team scored well. Hayden Withers especially finished, I think it was 8th out of 268 runners on the girls' side. So that was obviously a really strong performance for her. But Sue Savage is a vet, and she knows how to train our student athletes effectively and the best time to run. And like I said, some of those early morning runs that they've been getting in, so they're not in the dead heat of the afternoon.
And hopefully coming up here, trips to Northmont, Loveland coming up, Mother Nature will start to do us some favors and kind of take some of that pressure off there and let these runners do what they do best here. But still, nevertheless, good start up in Columbus. Let's switch gears. Let's change gears and talk about your field hockey team. They're getting going as well. Had the opener just recently, a tough one there, dropping to Olentangy by a score of 1-0. So I mean, you're right there the entire way, and in one instance the ball doesn't bounce your way, and that winds up being the difference here. Team trying to take the next step off of a state semifinal appearance from 1 year ago. You've got a number of players back from that team that are looking to take that next step there. I'm wondering how much that loss in that semifinal to Hudson has stuck with them in training camp, and how you expect and the coaches expect them to use that as motivation, especially early in the season.
Yeah, everyone wants to end their season on a win, no doubt about it. But I don't think that there's hangover from the Final Four loss. I think that they were so excited to get there. It was the first time we've been there in 20 years. And if anything, I think it just gave them a reason to believe that they can do it again. We opened about a week ago with a play day, seeing most of the teams in the Cincinnati area. And it was a great preview, just to kind of get a taste of what everyone looks like. And Olentangy beat us last year as well. I think it was like a 10-8 game or 11-9 game or something like that. So, to open up with them, we knew it would be a tough match. I think the defensive side of the field for us is probably our strong suit. We lost Bridget Schumacher and Cam Rabenaud and Maria Limberg, our 3 seniors last year that really provided a ton of our offense. So we're going to have to play really great defense and sneak a couple in, I think, to get wins this year.
We'll be keeping an eye on that. Defense wins championships. That's often the moniker. So we'll be seeing if that turns out to be the case. Maybe some more lower scoring games this season. As you said, we're just getting underway here. Let's switch gears. Let's hit the links, and let's talk about the boys first. And well, you talk about starting off well. This is about as well as you could ask for a golf team to start out with. They win the CHL preview. They're 4-0 in match play thus far. Peter Shakely has been tearing the cover off the ball, seemingly in all phases of the game thus far. He's leading the CHL with a 9-hole scoring average of 34, which is well under par, and something that a lot of normal folks can't do. But Peter Shakely is not a normal student athlete. He's great. But he's also one of 3 first-team all-league performers you have back from last year's team in Wyatt Higgins, Alex Holtzoffel. I'm wondering, when you see these guys from what they did last year moving into this year, when those 3 are playing at their best, is that as good of a combination as you could ask for?
It is really exciting to see what they can accomplish this year. They stumbled last year in districts and were really disappointed. As you mentioned, we have some great golfers back. We feel like we have a really strong team, and they expect to shoot well at every match and get deep into the tournament. But the 3 that you mentioned are super strong. To shoot a score of 284 in the CHL preview was just, I mean, that's kind of crazy golf numbers. And that's not one kid, as you mentioned, like a Peter Shakely, just having a great day. That's having a team of great days. And, when you're the 5th guy and you're in the mid 70s and you don't count for your team score, that's a pretty good golf day. So no, they're really excited for the year that they could have. Should be a lot of fun, and expectations are really high for the golf team for sure.
Just to go through some of those scores from the preview, Peter Shakely shoots 67. Wyatt Higgins and Alex Holtzoffel shoot 72. And as you said, some of the other golfers, Dylan Minoka shoots 73. Ilkin Grow 75, Kyle Ennis 76. So I mean, that's as good of a performance I would imagine the coaches could have asked for in a league preview, is it not?
And the first thing that he asked, he said, this has to be a school record, and we're kind of still digging through that right now. But no, I in my time as an athletic director or as a golf coach, as I've been in the past, I've never seen scores like that at our level, and that's some good shooting. So that gives them the confidence knowing they can shoot low. We can play with anyone that we're going to play or see this year. And like I said before, it just builds a lot of confidence.
Over on the girls' side, they're getting into their season as well, and not really a surprise from last year. Piper Iskrig leading the charge, first team all-league a year ago as a sophomore. She's transitioning now, obviously, to being the upperclasswoman there as a junior. Going into this year, as she's making that transition, for either from what you've seen or talking to Coach DePaolo, what's been the next step in Piper as far as her evolution on the leadership side of things?
Well, you mentioned it. She's another year older. She's an upperclassman. I think that alone just gives you a confidence that, I've been there and done that now a couple of times. And, I think the other thing that helps her is she has a solid team around her. We opened the season with winning the Country Day Invitational, shooting a nice score. I think it was 308, and then having some other matches that were really close and resulted in wins. In some of those matches. So I think it takes the pressure off her a little bit, knowing that as a team, they can score well and they can win. But as an individual, again, she's had the experience now to play high school golf and to be in the tournament. And she knows that, and we know that she can go a really long way. She's definitely leads the charge for our team and leads by example, is a great kid. And I think the girls' golf team has high expectations as well.
As you said, she won't be the only young lady we'll be talking about on the podcast as things go along. Very balanced squad, it appears to be. Let's move on to the pitch here, and let's talk about your girls' soccer program. Just getting things going back on the 13th there against Batavia, falling in that one 1-0. But you take a look deeper in the box score. Batavia's keeper had to make 9 saves to pitch the shutout there. And I'm guessing, Brian, coming off of that game, that's just a kind of a night where you just tip your cap to the opposing keeper and just say, hey, you got us this night here. I would assume not really much of a hangover effect from that, not really a negative feeling out of that, and you're able to move forward pretty quickly.
No, I think you said it right. They played great, and they're a good team. It's they're very highly ranked this year, and in our division, we knew that that was going to be a tough opener, and it was at their place, and so they got a little bit of home field advantage first game. So no hangover. I think that you always want to get that first win under your belt, game one, but it didn't happen. Our girls are good. We've got a great coaching staff. They're going to play well this year. We get at it again tomorrow against Monroe, which I think will be another really good, tough game for us. But no, it was just a 1-0 game. And like you said, a tip to their keeper. We think we outplayed them. Just the scoreboard didn't show that. And again, they're a really good team, so we wish them well.
I think also you would have to feel encouraged coming out of that you were able, your offense was able to get 9 shots on goal right there. Not a lot. That's not a common thing. Not a lot of teams are able to muster that kind of offensive attack there. So I have to imagine at least that's encouraging going forward, as you said, with Monroe and Ross, and next week Wyoming to start league play.
Yeah, that's right. And as we mentioned earlier, defense wins championships, and we're really excited about our back line. And Annie Isfording leads that charge. She's kind of getting a lot of the recognition and preseason awards and awards last year, and she's a senior and the leader of that team, and just a really great player. She's a great player, and so it's nice to have that caliber of kid and player on your team. And she's not alone. All 11 plus some kids coming off the bench are really strong players and will contribute. But it's awesome to be able to have Annie Isfording, on that back line helping the defense.
Over on the boys' side, we look back to last year, kind of an up and down season. Of course, you could say 2020 was just a weird kind of year in general, but we turn a new leaf over to 2021, and all positives thus far. 2-0 to start. You get the 1-0 win over McNick in the opener, and then beat Cincinnati Country Day 2-1 this past weekend. Now an interesting timing coming up in the schedule. We're going to spend the next 5 matches on the road, starting with Roger Bacon and Carroll coming up this week. You've got Wyoming coming up next week, and then in the second week of September, you have the defending state champion Marymount, who went undefeated a year ago. They lost a lot from last year, but nevertheless, they're going to be tough for sure. As the team gets set to go and spend some time away from the campus in Indian Hill High School, what are the coaches wanting to see in this time away, and also knowing that those final two of those matches are going to be in league play?
Yeah, I think if you ask our coaches, our first 2 wins were really grinded out kind of wins. Both are very good teams. It was nice to be able to play those teams at home. I don't think we felt like we particularly played great in either of those matches. So to still come out with wins, Coach Brian Daniel, still working on combinations that's best. We're getting some great leadership out of our seniors, some strong play out of our upperclassmen. And we're also relying on some young kids to do some big things for us. So this has given them that time to gel. We'll get on the road and get a couple more non-league games before we get, as you mentioned, some tough CHL matchups. And this team is pretty good. We're excited about them, and I think it'll be nice to have a handful of matches under our belt before we go see Wyoming and Marymount. And we feel like we can be at the top of the CHL this year on the boys and girls side.
Yeah, it feels like, especially you make the argument from both sides, both boys and girls, a lot more wide open. I think this year, a real good opportunity to be up there and challenge for the league title on both sides.
That's the great thing about the CHL and most sports, but soccer especially. The parity, is pretty great, and there's a lot of teams that really can be in that top 1 or 2 teams at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, for sure. Let's change gears. Let's talk about your tennis team, and they're just getting their season going. Made a trip up north to take on the Wellington School and also Columbus Academy, as we're just really winding the season forward here. We all know about the prowess that this program has had in the CHL over the years. We don't need to dig deep into that at this juncture here. not the ideal start I'm sure they would have liked in making that trip up north to take on those two very fine programs up there. But I also wondering how much that trip was preparation for the bigger picture, for the long term, the postseason, that type of thing.
Yeah, and kind of last minute that trip ended up kind of being here in Cincinnati. So from a travel standpoint, we didn't go north, but we hosted Wellington and Columbus Academy, two programs we know that are really good. We're really in the same exact position that we were last year. We're going to play the best teams that we can play. We're going to see Mason soon, and if they year in and year out are the top or one of the top Division I programs. So we schedule pretty much as difficult as we can schedule. And we hope and we think at the end of the year, we're going to be right where we want to be. We just had I think it was our 24th straight league championship. So we're excited about getting back into league play as well. But as you mentioned, those type of matches are more for the end of the road, end of the season type of preparation. And, we hope that we can make a run at the state team title as well as some individual tournament opportunities. But girls tennis is super strong again. We're really excited about our kids, and let's just see what happens.
Got a really a lot of youth. Again, we talked about that last season. Of course, they're down to some of those then freshmen, now sophomores, invaluable experience. And looking at the makeup of this roster, a lot of this is still youth, freshmen, sophomores, three juniors in there as well. And yet the expectation doesn't change for this program.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's nice when you can be pretty good and know that you're pretty young and you continue to bring kids back the following year. And that's a really good position for us to be in. And there's even some of the younger kids, from the freshman level that we expect to contribute to this team. So, like I said, girls tennis should have a really great year, and the program kind of keeps rolling on. And after this year, we expect to just keep getting better.
Let's switch gears and let's talk about your volleyball team here. Of course, you have a brand new head coach this year in Sherry Henry taking things over, and apparently felt like giving everybody a sweat in the opener because we had to go the distance to beat Cincinnati Country Day, but wind up getting the job done and winning in a 5-set thriller, taking the fifth 15-12 to get the job done. Michaela Biting leading the way with 15 kills. Lily Andrews just 33 assists in the match there. So solid performances there, I would say, for them. You get the win. That's the most important thing. But particularly with Michaela and Lily kind of leading things, with Michaela finishing off plays, Lily kind of really running the entire offense. How important will those two players be to this team as we move forward into the season? We kick off league play beginning of September and try to challenge for the league title.
Yeah, I don't want to say it's a little bit of a rebuilding process, but we do have a new coaching staff, and we had a handful of good seniors that graduated, and those two are really going to have to lead the way. And it was exciting to get that first win of the season. I think maybe even more importantly, as you mentioned, it went down to the wire, and our backs were up against the wall going to that fifth game, and to come out on the road victorious, I think again gives the kids and coaches some confidence. But we know volleyball will be really tough in the CHL, and we're excited to get after it. We're going to take on Baden on Monday today. And that's going to be a tough match for us. So we'll see how we do against them. But yeah, no, we're excited for volleyball. It's we've got some young kids that we're still going to count on to contribute to the program, and we're going to take it week by week and see where we are, and just keep trying to get better each week.
Let's move on here. And we normally here, I like to finish up our discussions each week during the fall with your football team, and kind of an interesting one here to start this season, and for sure. And the team drops the season opener to McNick by a score of 28-13. And looking at the way things gone, just a tough night all the way around. Ty Thornton did not have his best night throwing the ball. McNick's a very, very solid team, and that certainly plays a factor. And it got the running game a little bit. But I look at the box score once things came to its conclusion, Brian. The thing that caught me by surprise, 14 penalties against your team and for 115 yards. That can play a huge factor in a game like this, and something it's very atypical for this program over the years there. How much was that how much of a surprise was that, not only to you, but to the coaches? Is there any concern of that going forward here over the next couple of weeks when you travel to a Northwest and host Taft?
Yeah, I would say I think we were a little surprised. I think we felt like we were very prepared for the game. McNick is a really good team, and they played well on Friday night. And really, you kind of mentioned it. I think about the game. It was a defensive battle. It was 7-0 for most of the game, and then they scored to make it 14-0. And a lot of those points all happened towards the end of the game. But we had 3 big turnovers. One was a pick six and a couple fumbles that were pretty crucial. And it felt like every time we did have a big play, it was called back for a penalty. So, you get into this point where you just can't get going or stay going, and that hurts any team. So concern, I don't think so. I think that we knew it'd be a tough game and probably could go either way. I think we felt like we had the edge a little bit in that game, but they had some kids that played pretty well. We did some really good things on defense. So I think we feel like our defense is strong, and we know we have 2 of the best players in the area on offense. So no, we'll travel to Northwest. They had a nice win against New Richmond. I think we feel like we'll be ready to play on Friday, and then we'll host Taft, and then we'll be on the road to Wyoming. So we knew going into this year, our first 4 weeks were going to be really tough. And we've been in a position in the past where we've kind of gone through the schedule pretty easily and have gotten to the end and felt like I'm not sure how much we've been tested. We've kind of flipped it this year. We're really going to test ourselves the first 4 weeks. And then, we know our conference schedule will still continue to be tough, but we'll see how it plays out at the end that way.
Just week 1, a long season to go there for sure. And those early season tests, to your point, can only help you once you get into the playoffs down the road. And we'll be covering that in depth as we go along here all season long here, Brian. Really great to be back with you once again. And we'll look forward to recapping another great couple of weeks here when we reconvene in 2 weeks.
Great to be back. Great to see you. And we'll see you here soon.
That is Indian Hill Athletic Director Brian Phelps joining us for this fall sports season premiere of This Week in Indian Hill Braves Athletics here on IndianHillBraves.org and ESP Media, powered by Sidearm Sports.